seems like Edmonton to be sort of stereotypical. You know, they get the high scoring guys, the big stars. You guys are, I know you have stars too, but it's like a grinder team. Do you see that, and is that maybe something that you're going to lean on down to the one of the series?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's our identity. You look at their three guys over there, 100 plus points. We don't even have a 90-point guy. So I think that's part of our team identity is to play a little more grinder-ish. And we've talked about the 1-3-1 for 4 years now. That's part of our identity is playing tight checking and not maybe so much gambling on scoring 5 or 6. We're not going to win many games when we give up 4 or 5. I think the recipe for success for us is stay 5-on-5 and win a game 3-2. Once the scoring gets up to 5-6, with the skill level they have, especially in their top 3-4 guys, it's be tough for us to win games.
You react from game 1 with a terrific performance in game 2. Is it different, the challenge after losing like you did last night, to come back and do the same thing in game 4? Is it going to be harder, or what's that like?
I think you look back at the history of us in Edmonton the last 3 years. Every time that the other teams won, the other teams come back with a strong effort. Even in this series so far, you have to give them credit too. They played a good game. We didn't have our best stuff, obviously, but I think you go back to the last 3 years and it's kind of a 1-1. So our goal is to get this 2-2. I think the confidence in our group to make that happen is high, and we should have to go out and execute.
So is it maybe even a little bit easier to bounce back from a 6-1 game when nothing went really your way versus like a 3-2 game when you felt you played well and still got beat?
Yeah, I guess there's something to be said to that. It's not an emotional overtime loss where sometimes that can bleed into the next game. I think in the playoffs it's one game at a time, and you kind of have to just almost flush the bad games and kind of take what you think went wrong and improve in the next game.
I assume it's not much difference than after a win, but take us through what you did today when you got up, how you got here, what you got when we got to the rink, and what kind of the process.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're disappointed after last night's event, but you have to turn the page pretty quick, play again tomorrow. So you kind of, again, you have a meeting about it, you talk about it, and then you flush it, and then it's all about getting ready for tomorrow. So I think the mental preparation is, you flush the bad game, kind of reset, and just hone in on tomorrow's game.
How much feedback do you guys give in these meetings? Like, is it just listening, or do you actually discuss?
I think it depends on kind of the morale of the room. But I think most times it is discussions amongst players, amongst coaches, areas we can improve, things that we think might work or be less efficient. It's definitely a conversation.
Blake, how big of a difference is it in you guys' game when you grab the lead as opposed to when you're trailing early?
Yeah, I think you look at the playoffs, whoever scores, I said this in Edmonton a few days ago, is the first goal is huge, especially when you're on the road. And then Foxy pointed out to me too that the second goal was probably even bigger. Get it back to 1-1, or if it's 2-0 like last night, it takes the wind out of the sails. So I think the first goal and the second goal are awfully important in the playoffs, whether you're Edmonton or LA or Colorado, whoever. It's important to get that first one.
Is there a material, let's follow up. Is there a material difference though when you guys are able to take the lead in terms of playing your game? Is there a material difference when you have an early lead or when you're trailing early?
No, we're not playing a different style or a different. Maybe unintentionally your mindset maybe changes a tad, but yeah, I mean obviously if you're winning, your confidence is higher versus being down 3-0 or whatever. But yeah, I don't think consciously you're really aware of that.
Are they doing something on their power play? Look, they have elite level players, but is there something schematically that they're doing that you guys can't solve at this point?
I think it's an array of things. They have so many different options. Out of the same looking set, they have 3 different options off of, one set where other teams might have 1 or 2 options. They've got 3 or 4. So your brain's always working, and then obviously they do it at a speed that's much higher than maybe your average power play, and that has been proven across the whole league when they play teams for the last 2-3 years. They've been, you know, pretty much the number one power play. So they've got good players, and I think first and foremost, just can't take penalties.
Hey Blake, from a personal perspective, you're, I think, the smallest guy on either team, smallest guy on the ice. So I would guess that despite your obvious talent, you've been told at times that, look, you know, you're not gonna make it. Someone might look at this series and say, it's over. Is there something that you bring to the room maybe to say, look, I've fought my whole life, you know, I've been told all along that it's not gonna happen. We're still in this thing, we can make it happen.
Yeah, I personally think it's ridiculous if you think this series is over. It's 2-1. Yeah, it wasn't a good game, but it's one game. We got a chance to win tomorrow night and bring it 2-2 back to Edmonton. I think we would take that at the beginning of the series. So I think, yeah, I mean, I think our confidence in our guys to keep this series alive is high. We just have to go out and execute.
Can I just go back to the PK a bit? Does it get to a point where there's sort of a mental element to it along with their, you know, their different options when they've had such success, you know, you're 7-14? Do you have to fight against that mental, oh my God, they've got another power play?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just said it. They've got 14 power plays in 3 games. That's just too many. You give those players that many chances, they're going to score. And even other players on our teams. It's the best league in the world, and if you have 14 cracks at it, you're gonna score quite a few times. So yeah, I think we've had opportunities to kill penalties in important moments and haven't gotten it done. So I think going forward, we need to get it done, and timely penalties, I think, are what have kind of been our Achilles heel.